evening and welcome to Business Beat, the business show that marches to its own beat. This evening, we are talking about wine, and we'll be sharing with you the amazing story of a 100% black woman-owned wine-producing company that was started in 2006. Sesifikile Wines, which means we have arrived, is an incredible story of entrepreneurialism and tenacity. I'm your host, Vuisa Kabaka. Today, we are joined by Usislungiswa Ntshuntshe from Sesifikile Wines. Siswam, welcome.
Thank you, Bhuti.
The story of the formation of Sesifikile must be a very unique story of dynamism and just looking beyond what's possible. Just share with us quickly the background to how it all started.
Curiosity, pure curiosity. You switched on the TV. Wine was a lifestyle. It was one of those good drinks that you can have with your friends. So yes, if you want to be a winemaker, those subjects you need, and obviously dedication and hard work, but you need to be curious. Because,
Brilliant.
I mean, it's not about just, hey, let's take this grape and put it there. No, you need something that's going to stand out. I mean, from all the cab saves that you'll have, you need to know this one is Sesifikile. But at the same time, if you don't want to go that winemaker route, you can do the pairing, you can take the courses. So there's more than one way to get into it. You don't necessarily need the science.
Okay.
But
So quickly for me, what has been your biggest challenge kind of getting this growth and this acceleration of this business going?
I'm not going to lie to you. Yes, it's the capital. Distribution. Because that is where you actually see what the value of your product, because that is how you make your money. But also the challenges we've had to face is fronting. Because, I mean, I come to you and I say, okay, I do not have the resources, I do not have the means, let us pair up. And then you gladly say yes to only find Uguti, you just really want me to sign, but you don't want me to actually experience this thing of owning this brand that we're doing. So those are the challenges that we face, and just generally people who just want to use you, because it's white male dominated, so there's a lot of dynamics. But
and how are you working on overcoming some of these on your side?
Well, when we present ourselves, we don't want to just be Sesifikile, we are women, and that's it. We want to actually do the work. We want to feel the ownership, and also, I mean, our input as well. So but it's very challenging. I will not lie to you. We've been disappointed, and people tend to put you on hold because they don't take you seriously. You don't have the money, so it's kind of just do whatever we want you to do, and it's not that. I mean, it's our brand.
Let's explore after the break how we can get some of these challenges overcome. But thank you so much for being with us this evening. That's Usislungiswa Ntshuntshe from Sesifikile Wines. Wow, that was amazing. What an incredible story of success and dynamism and seeing what's to come in the future. Here again, we are seeing a story of women coming together to start a business over the past 10 years, overcoming various challenges and leading in a space that's dominated by men. Thank you so much, Usislungiswa, for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having us.
After the break, we are joined by a wine industry expert who's going to share with us how to get into the wine industry, how to make it, and how to take your business global. So if you're interested in getting into the wine industry, do stay tuned and do join us after the break. Welcome back. Before the break, we're joined by Lungiswa Ntshuntshe from Sesifikile Wines, a 100% women-owned winemaking company. Joining us now is Kathy Mostyn, freelance journalist and wine educator. Kathy, welcome.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
Lovely to have you. Kathy, you have a lot of experience in the wine industry. In your experience, what have you seen to be the biggest mistake made by winemakers in general?
I think a lot of young winemakers, it's very difficult to get into the industry as a winemaker anyway. And you see a lot of people that go to winemaking college at Stellenbosch or Elsenburg, and they actually end up doing different careers after university. So they do need to be quite sort of broad in their outlook. But if you are lucky enough to go and become a winemaker and get a winemaking job, I think you need to stay there for some time. You know, you need to get your foot in the door, really get all your practical experience, all the stuff that you learnt in theory. You need to make sure that you know how to apply those kind of things. And I think one of the biggest mistakes, and you see it in young winemakers, and you see it in sommeliers as well, and a lot of times as well, is that people move jobs too quickly. You know, they get tempted away by a nice new fat paycheck and it all looks exciting.
Experiences overseas.
Yeah, but, you know, but to just stay where you are, get really good, make sure that you form some good connections and get a good network of people who you've related with, who you've worked with, and then, you know, make the jump sort of later on in life. Don't be in such a hurry to make things start.
And earlier we were joined by Lungiswa from Sesfikile, and they produce some wine. For them, what should be the experience? What is the benchmark for being a good producer?
I think that if you're going to have any longevity, and that's really what it's all about. I mean, you're talking about creating a business here, and wine is lovely and we all like drinking it, but it needs to be about the bottom line. It needs to be a sustainable business as well. I think you need to have a very, very clear focus. You need to be very sure about who you want to sell your wine to, who's your target audience, and then you need to come up with something that's going to make your product unique, because there's a lot of wines out there on the market. So what you need to do is you need to be able to differentiate your wines from other people's wines, and that's to do with the story. It's to do with the background. It's to do with the emotional things that people invest when they drink a bottle of wine. You
how
need
do
to
they
make
improve
a
on their
connection.
distribution in general?
A lot of that, to be honest, is to do with pounding the pavements and going out and meeting the people yourself. If it's your story, people want to see you and they want to hear that story from you. So in terms of actually getting the listings in the first place, a lot of that is actually going out and meeting people. I used to own a restaurant and we listed Sesfikile wines simply because the person who's doing the marketing at the time came in to see me and brought the wines
connected with
and
you.
told the story. And that's really what you need to do. I think if you can close the gap between the people who make the wine and the people who drink the wine, if you can close that gap or bridge that gap, you're going to have a successful model for sales.
Can we just take one step back just for a moment and really just take the journey from the beginning? You run an internationally accredited course here in South Africa.
Yes.
How does one get going with a career in the wine industry?
I think that doing some kind of a wine course is an absolute, well, I would say that, wouldn't I? But I think it's a really good thing to do for several reasons. Firstly, it means that if you're going to get into the wine industry, you've got a qualification that people can understand. The WSET qualifications I teach, those are internationally recognised, so they're very valuable. So it means that people can know that you know what you're talking about, first of all. But the other thing that you get from doing a wine course, which is hugely beneficial, is that you get connections. You meet other people who are doing a wine course with you as well, and now suddenly someone works in a restaurant here, or somebody works in a tasting room there, or somebody's the marketing manager from whatever it is. So now you've got people that you know who can actually give you advice and help you to actually develop your career.
Okay. Now in terms of how do you then build up on this? So you've got the qualifications as a winemaker, you're thinking about what to do next. How do you access capital towards the infrastructure? I mean, I heard there's a bit of a joke in the industry that says, in order to become a millionaire in the wine industry, you need to start with 10.
Yeah.
So how do you access the capital that allows you to really build out and become another brand in the market?
I think that if you want to do that, if you're not lucky enough to have rich supporters, which very few of us are, I think my advice that I gave at the beginning would be to actually start working somewhere first. And then if you have an enlightened employer, and a lot of employers are realizing nowadays that people do want to be individuals, they do want to have their own brand, then hopefully he or she will actually let you make your own wine on the side and will maybe give you a little bit of support. And once you've built up some brand equity, once people know who you are and they recognise in your wines, then you can actually go and make the big leap and do it yourself. But I would do it in baby steps first. I think trying to stay where you are, doing a great job for somebody else and then hoping that what you're doing on the side can actually get bigger over time.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of where Sesfikile is now, they're in the process of launching a new brand coming out sometime in June called the Monarch. And they're now kind of looking at the premium kind of level. How does one judge the pricing and the costing model for ensuring that you position yourself correctly in the market?
Getting your pricing right is a very difficult thing to do. I think my advice would really be to do your homework, to go and buy wines that you see on people's wine lists, that you see on retailers' shelves, particularly boutique retailers, so people like Caroline's Fine Wines in Cape Town and Wine Concepts and those kinds of places.
Just to get a feeler.
Just to get a feel and then have a taste and make sure that your wine is in that market, that it's shaping up well, that it's holding its own taste-wise. And then after that, I think I would probably decide, if you're going for a boutique product, you want to get it seen in the best places. So I would actually target some top sommeliers in some top restaurants.
To be like brand ambassadors type.
To try and get them interested in your brand and hopefully, you know, sort of, and say nice things about it. Maybe you can get some good quotes from people like that. But if you can get listings in good restaurants, a lot of people are exposed to wines first time from these sommeliers. And then after that, it's much easier to get listings in retail outlets.
That's great. So now, are there any other kind of industry bodies that someone needs to affiliate to, be part of, or conversationally be connected to, in order for them to be in touch with the industry as a critical stakeholder?
I think that once you get into the wine industry, you'll find it's quite sociable. You know, everyone drinking wine is quite a sociable thing anyway. So a lot of wine folk are quite chatty and quite friendly. There's a lot of groups online that you can join. You need to make sure that if you're looking at exporting, that WOSA is aware of you and knows what you're up to and what you're doing.
WOSA, South Africa, the Wines of
South Africa. And that's basically the body that looks after our marketing internationally. So they're always good people to talk to if you are looking for export. If you're looking very locally, then maybe you need to find a local distributor and you can talk with them about how you can actually support and build your brand. But there's things like SASA, which is the South African Sommelier Association. So they're a good hot house to sort of put your products into and try and get some coverage. And then there's groups online. There's a Women in Wine Facebook group that's quite a good thing to talk to. There's all sorts of industry things that you can try and tap into and get your products out there.
Well, thank you so much. What a wonderful insights, Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. That was Kathy Marston, wine journalist and wine educator, really sharing with us around how you can get into the wine industry and how you can make your wine world-class through some industry support and a lot of hard work. The wine industry might be hard to get into, but certainly worthwhile for a lifestyle product to have. Join us after break as we unpack what we've already learned today and look forward to this week's quote and what we're likely to learn in the next week. Welcome back. If you're only joining us now, you've missed a great deal of information, exciting things that we've learned about the wine industry this evening. We're first joined by Ulungiswa Ntshuntsha from Sesfikile Wines, a 100% women-owned wine producing company. And out of Ulungiswa, what we learned really is that the wine industry is predominantly male-dominated. But regardless of whether males are doing it, that they've been in existence doing this for the past 10 years. And against all manner of challenges, have made it through to the other side. But we also equally learned that as part of that challenge, it's been through great tenacity, an entrepreneurial spirit, and a team dynamic that's allowed them to build Sesfikile into a brand and that is now known by restaurateurs and wine buyers and wine lovers alike. We then also had Kathy Marston, educator of wine, and again, out of her, we learned the importance of branding and the importance of positioning your brand at the right price point. We also learned the importance of having other people validate and provide testimonials, reputable industry testimonials around your product, and how it's important to consistently be allowing consumers to try your product and to receive their feedback. Wow, what an incredible, incredible episode. So the wine industry is really something that, again, is an opportunity for many of our people to get into by learning and getting educated Yes, it's an expensive industry to be successful in terms of manufacturing and being a producer like Sesfikile. But the reality of it is that the wine industry is here to stay. So hopefully you'll get to enjoy being part of growing a small brand yourself in the wine industry. This week we have a quote coming from Joyce Meyer, and I quote, "I wonder how many times people give us just before a breakthrough when they are in the very brink of success. I wonder how many times people give up just before they break through when they are on the very brink of success." Now again, we can take a lesson out of Sesfikile. In 2004, the first time that they got into the industry, they really almost gave up. But they went back onto the drawing board and reinvented themselves and restarted this journey in 2006. And 10 years later, they are now a household name and a very proud South African brand and product. Giving up is a difficult choice to make, but the reality of it is that ultimately it is about tenacity in business and in entrepreneurship and in life in general. It is about the spirit of seeing your vision through and seeing the opportunity to enter a new market, to change new lives, and to take your business to the next heights. I'm certainly encouraged by what I've learned this week from Sesfikile about how women in South Africa can take a brand and have it produced locally and distributed globally. So again, don't give up. Think long and hard about where you are on your journey. Think long and hard about the challenges you face. And again, take them head on by asking and working with industry experts, with industry association, with like-minded entrepreneurs, and keeping the spirit of entrepreneurship going forward. This week, we soon learned that the reality of the South African entrepreneurship space is diminishing. More and more people are not going into business because they fear of failure. Failure has never stopped anybody from succeeding. And this week, we learned that women from Sesfikile have done it themselves, and against all odds, have managed to break through and find success. Join us again next time and hit us up on social media, Twitter, and on our website. But it will be great to hear from you again next week. Thank you so much. Good night.